What's up, everyone? Buckle up for a new episode of Tech in Check. Let's dive into the basics and complexities of machinery maintenance with engineers Rich Marriage and Tony Planamento. Join us as we meet with guests from the marine and industrial world to learn about the latest technology that keeps your equipment in check and working for you.
Hello, my name is Rich Marriage. I'm here today with Paul Pedersen with Goltens. Paul's the director of Goltens here in Miami, Florida. And Paul, tell us a little about yourself and your background and how you came to become the director of such a global company.
All right, correction, not the director of the global company, just director for the U.S. operations, Miami and Houston. So thanks for the promotion, Rich. I like it.
Yeah, we want to make you look like a rock star here.
Woohoo! I like it.
So, what's your background? I know you went to Kings Point.
Yep,
school across the other side from where I went.
Little inter-school rivalry there.
Yeah, it's always fun. Played rugby.
That's it. So kicked Skylar's butt at rugby all the time.
Oh, it was painful.
Good times.
Yeah.
But no, I went to U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. I was a legacy student there. My dad went and graduated with one of the first graduating classes in 1944. He got pushed through in the war program. Yeah, it was pretty cool hearing his sea stories about Liberty ships being blown up right next to him. And
wow.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine.
Wild days.
Yeah.
So he tried to talk me to go into the academy for years in high school, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And then finally I decided, hey, it's a good education, and we'll give it a try. And went out to sea my first time, and hated it for the first 3 days. I was puking my guts out, and on day 4 I go, you know what?
You're a landlord.
I love this. So stuck with it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting career path, isn't it? Very diverse. I like the diversity of it. Never the same thing every day. It's something different.
Yeah, and that's why I love Goltens too. We fix all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
People blow up different things all the time.
Yeah, it keeps us going, right?
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit about Goltens and the history of Goltens and what you guys do. Give me a background on, give me the elevator's pitch on Goltens.
All right, quick down and dirty. So Goltens was started back in 1940 by Sigurd Golten. And he started a workshop in New York, in Brooklyn, to support basically the war effort and the maritime industry.
Okay.
So he started a machine shop working on diesel engine components and working on items for the war. His brother at the same time started a company in Norway called Atlantic Marine, and that was a maritime repair business. So both businesses grew through the wartime.
Both sides of the Atlantic covered.
Correct. And then they, after the war, they decided to join forces and join together to become what Goltens is today.
Okay.
So the first two Goltens offices were Brooklyn and Oslo, and then branched out from there. So right now we're in 14 different countries, 25 different offices.
Knowing a little bit about the ships back then, it was mostly steam. Were they doing steam repair work, steamship repair, or were they focused mostly on diesel engines?
A lot of diesel, but also any components on the ship.
Okay. So
any steel repair, machining work that needed to be done.
Whatever needed to be done, they were doing it.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. And then back in the 50s, Sigurd Golten was the pioneer of in-place machining. He was the first person to machine a crankshaft inside a diesel engine.
That's huge.
Yeah. So it was his idea, and it was born out of necessity. They had a ship who had a crankshaft inside the ship. They couldn't get a spare one out of Europe for a long period of time. So he said, hell, let's try to machine it in place. They developed the tools. They machined the crankpin journal in place.
God, I love that stuff.
And yeah,
it's so cool.
It's amazing. So then after that, they patented the technology, and we were the only people doing it for about 15 years. So the patent ran out. And,
that's too bad.
Yeah.
You guys had a niche.
We did.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty big niche, and you're still well known for that today.
Correct. That's one of our core businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. That's you guys are good at it.
Yeah,
so the crankshaft, they actually. Then I guess they had to harden the surface as well, or they just skim cut it?
No, back then it was just they ground the pin undersides, made custom bearings. Those were all Babbitt bearings back then.
Right.
So re-Babbitted the bearing, put it back in, got the ship going.
Way we go. Nice.
And then that crankshaft sat in Goltens from 1950 into the 2000s.
It's like a museum piece.
It was. It just sat there.
It's hard to let go of. Hard to let go of that crankshaft.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, who scrapped it? His wife?
had to be Evo, but yeah, that was a tough one. So that was not the shaft they repaired, but the replacement shaft, the one that was supposed to be installed on the ship.
Oh,
Never got installed.
never got installed. Brand new crankshaft.
Brand new crankshaft.
Oh boy, and those things aren't cheap.
No.
Wow, interesting.
So
very interesting.
Then after that, Goltens grew up. But going back into core business, in situ machining is one of our core businesses. That's what we're known for. So we'll do crankshaft machining, line boring. We do annealing, heat treatment of crankshafts.
Okay.
Large flange facing, large XYZ milling. Okay. Line boring of stern tubes.
Right.
Tail shafts, which Rich has helped us out with.
Yeah. No, it's been a good. We've enjoyed working with you guys because as you know, a lot of our business is yachts. It's nice to get out with you guys and work on some real ships, commercial vessels. Work Nothing against yachts, but just nice to get on a little more spacious big ship, crawling through the stern tube. I remember crawling through the stern tube in Panama with Evo.
Yeah, that was a nice little job.
That was a nice little job down in the Panama Canal.
Yep, that was verification of the stern tube alignment, reboring the stern tube here in the workshop and fitting it up and rechecking the alignment.
Had that crazy Scottish superintendent
who drove you and Evo crazy.
Yeah, he was a force of nature, that guy. So so you in situ machining, what about your workshop? Like what other businesses I know you do a lot of field service work.
We do. So going back to the workshop, our workshop is focused on a couple different areas. Diesel engine repair, component repair. So we'll overhaul cylinder heads. We recondition connecting rods. We're only one of the few shops in the U.S. that actually does reconditioning of 4-stroke and 2-stroke connecting rods.
Okay.
So diesel engine components, injection equipment, whatever it is on a diesel engine, we can overhaul here in the shop.
Okay.
And then we also do custom machining.
I could see where you're going to get even busier because the supply chain, based on my own personal experience, is really suffering still. It hasn't caught up, and it's the factories are just not able to fulfill orders. No. And with reconditioned parts and salvaging parts is going to become a big part of the future, I think. Which maybe that's better for the environment. I don't know. What do you think?
It is better for the environment.
Yeah, you have to. It takes a lot of energy to mine and produce parts.
Manufacture, then you have to ship it over.
Yeah.
So the longer you can extend the life out of a component, the better off you are, and for the environment as well. So.
Exactly. So you're redoing crankszafts, crankshaft and all that. And what about what other parts do you salvage? The cylinder heads, right? You do cylinder head reconditioning.
Correct. Yeah, we'll do the overhaul and grinding of the valves, machining of the valves, reboring the seat pockets.
Right. Okay.
So we'll do the connecting rods, honing of the liners, any of the large components we can do here in the shop.
And I know that you're also doing some exotic stuff, like you'll do CPP propeller blade reconditioning and things like that, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So anything else you could think of that's a little off the beaten trail?
We've machined a few rudders.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
I think we machined some for you.
Yeah, and not a lot of people can swing a rudder on a lathe. You have some pretty large equipment here.
We do. We've got some fairly good size lathes and horizontal boring mills.
Right.
So we can do some fairly.
So you can make it happen.
That's it.
That's not easy.
Figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, I like that about you guys. Get it done.
That's it. So that's
can-do attitude.
You've got to.
Yeah.
In this industry, you can't wait around. You're not going to wait forever to get parts. Like you said, supply train.
I know.
Getting stuff shipped out of Europe takes forever. So
yeah, you got to get this stuff going. And ships don't like to wait around.
No,
that's
a fact.
They don't like to wait around.
A bunch of impatient.
Yeah. So yeah, that's getting to be a real challenge. I know for us, getting parts and trying to figure out a solution for the customer to keep the ships underway is
the name of the game.
Yeah, it's the name of the game.
Minimizing asset downtime. That's one of our key specialties.
That's right. There you go. Key words right there. Minimizing asset downtime. That's what we're all about. Both our companies.
Exactly. So yeah, the machinists we have in the shop, just go back on the machinists, our guys have been in the industry a long time, and as you said, can do attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So they're be able to look at a part and say, okay, we can't get the replacement part for this. What are we going to do? Are we going to make it? We're going to modify. So our guys are very good at
reverse
adapting.
engineering if you need to.
Correct.
Right, and I believe you also have a 3D scanner, I believe, right?
We do.
Yeah. We have one as well, but that comes in handy for doing reverse engineering.
Oh, it's amazing technology.
I mean, you can scan something and make a 3D surface model of it. It's pretty impressive stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
We do that a lot in our metal stitching. When we do metal stitching of engine blocks, we'll do a 3D scan of the block, make a custom casting based on the 3D scan.
Oh, wow.
And then metal stitch it into the block for block
place.
repair.
Oh, that's some interesting. Not everybody can do that.
No, and that's the fun stuff, because it makes you think about the repair.
Yeah, it's challenging. Yeah,
exactly.
It's challenging.
And that's one thing both me and Rich like is the challenging jobs. We'll call each other up. Hey, what about this? How do you do that?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm a glutton for punishment. It's good to fix stuff and I like that kind of challenge. I like that engineering challenge. So you talked about the in-situ machining, your workshop work, and then your field service guys.
Yep.
And you guys go worldwide, right?
We do. Well, out of the U.S., we typically service all up and down from the tip of South America all the way up through Canada, then also the Caribbean, but we will send guys to Europe and Africa on occasion as well.
Okay.
And our field service guys, we specialize in diesel engine overhauls.
Yep.
From start to finish.
Yeah.
We do crankshaft changes. You name it on diesel engine, we can take care of it. We send riding ship crews.
Yeah.
Ride the vessels to help fix the ships. We do work in power plants as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll send crews to either work with a plant crew in the power plants, or we'll put a full crew on board.
Right.
At the plant. So.
And you've got offices. We talked about this earlier. It's a global company, so you've got offices outside the U.S. as well, right?
Correct.
So if you needed support from other resources, you have it.
Correct. Yeah, we do that all the time. If we're low on manpower, we can't support out of the U.S., we'll either source local labor from companies like AME for support.
Yeah.
Yourself or other friend companies.
Right.
Or we'll get people out of Europe.
Yeah.
Or Asia.
Yeah, it's and that's really helpful in figuring the ebbs and flows of peaks of workforce. Trying to keep everybody busy and getting through the super busy times.
Makes a big difference, because all the ships want to break down at the same time for some damn reason.
No, isn't that crazy?
It's nuts.
It does seem to happen that way.
Yeah.
So I hope my boat doesn't break down. So what else you got here?
But here, going back to the diesel engine crews, one thing we do different than a lot of the competitors is we've got guys, our diesel engine engineers, can overhaul an engine, tear it down. If we're doing a crankshaft change, I've got welders in-house that we can cut a hole in the side of the ship. We can rig it in. We can weld the hole back up. Mm-hmm. And the same welders are going to act as mechanics as well to reduce costs and rebuild those engines with our engine crew. So we've got a very diverse.
So you're diverse. You guys have a lot of skill sets, and your guys are, can do whatever's necessary to get a job done.
Cross-trained.
Yeah, cross-training is big. We try to do the same. And that's to solve customers' problems, right? In this business.
That's the name of the game. It minimizes flying a specialist out.
Yeah.
And, trying to avoid the prima donna attitude.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, no, it's very important, and propulsion. Ship's not going anywhere without propulsion.
That's a fact.
And what about the maintenance side of it? Do you guys strictly do some maintenance for them as well, like outside repair work?
We do. We've got certain customers we do scheduled maintenance overhauls, 18,000 hour overhauls, 36,000 hour overhauls. Mm-hmm. That's on both the marine and land side.
Yeah, I mean we always try to advocate that. That's with our company with condition monitoring programs, is to try to get these guys to keep up their maintenance.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Either you spend it on the front side or spend it on the back side.
Right.
It's a lot more expensive on the back side.
So, yeah, your field service guys are pretty diverse. What else? So, am I missing anything? Have you got some technologies that you want to bring attention to that?
One thing that we do is in 2010, Goltens started the Green Technology program within Goltens. And we looked at it as we need to get behind the environmental changes and adapt. Otherwise, we're going to be the largest wagon wheel repair company in the world. Because technology is advancing so fast and the environmental regulations are coming into place. And if we don't get on the bandwagon, we're going to get left behind.
Right.
So
you got to look forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're working with ship LNG barge. LNGs. I mean, they're starting to use LNG as a fuel pretty regularly now. And there's a lot of other fuel ideas being thrown around. What, methane, right?
Methane, hydrogen.
Hydrogen. It'll be interesting to see where this all lands.
Oh, it is.
Because it's almost like reminds me of the beginning of the PC versus software. It's like people didn't really know where the where was it going to really end up. What was going to be the final.
And no one knows. You talk to the experts. I'm speaking in some of the environmental conferences, and you talk to the people who are supposedly the experts in the field, and they're not sure where it's going to come out of.
No.
There's supposition, but there's no one clear path. Is it going to be ammonia? Is it going to be hydrogen? Is it going to be a hydrogen derivative?
Yeah, there's so many things on the table right now, and the engine companies are all they're all researching different paths. Like nobody's really chosen one.
No, and that's.
And then you also do you get the wind farm. Are you into the wind farm support vessels and things like that yet?
We're doing some work on the wind farm support vessels, but not on the wind side. We're doing it on the propulsion side.
Right. Sure.
So, but on the technology side, there's we're looking into different areas. We were heavy into ballast water treatment. Of course, the ballast water regulations are ending. Now the newest hot trend is decarbonization.
Yeah.
So everyone's looking at how can we decarbonize.
They're using they're pumping the carbon into deep wells, right? Is that what you're talking about?
That's part of it. But decarbonization is the whole aspect of reducing your fuel burning less fuel.
Okay.
Or capturing the carbon, or offsetting it somehow. So there's a lot of different avenues. One thing we're doing is we're retrofitting some vessels with dual fuel conversion. So we're taking them off of diesel and putting them on LNG.
Interesting.
So that's an interesting project we have ongoing right now. We're working on a high-speed ferry.
Really? That's interesting.
Doing a dual fuel conversion.
So you're working with an engine you're representing an engine manufacturer in that one, I would think.
No, that one's the Heinzman. So we're the representative for Heinzman Regulators Europa here in the U.S.
Interesting.
So that's a Heinzman dual fuel system, the Artemis system.
Wow.
So
very, very cool.
Yeah, that's a fun project.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Jealous. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's we got to do something, right? I mean, I would think you would agree. We got to do something to clean up the environment.
We do,
and make us humans more compatible with the Earth. So
that's a fact. One cool thing that we did is we were using cow manure as a fuel. We weren't doing it. We were working on a project that was renewable natural gas up in Iowa. We were installing the units that actually take the methane, take the cow.
The outgas.
Correct. You take the cow waste.
Yeah.
And they'll take the off gas from that.
Capture it.
We were installing the units that actually clean the gas.
Scrubbed it,
and put it back into the main gas stream. So we were on a fairly large project for that for quite a while. That was pretty fun.
One of the walking around, were you wearing rubber boots?
It smelled wonderful up there.
Yeah. But when you were one of the things I heard about this fuel, and I don't want to go too heavy into this because we don't have a lot of time, but my experience with this gas is it doesn't burn evenly. It's a very uneven. It's hard to control the burn in a diesel engine. And I was wondering that real quickly, without going too heavy into science here, how did you guys did you have a pilot fuel? Were you using a dual burn like running diesel and methane, or were you just strictly on methane?
No, see, the interesting part about this is they call it RNG, so it's just renewable natural gas.
Okay.
All they're doing is they're taking it, scrubbing it, and putting it into the gas pipeline to be used back by the cities and municipalities.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't burning in the engine at the time.
No, there's the ENG, so what they'll do is electrical natural gas. They'll actually take it from the waste plants, waste management,
Yeah.
and then burn that gas off.
Okay.
That, at the beginning, I was involved in a project with Stewart and Stevenson back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And that was the challenge, is the gas wasn't clean and you could not get consistent burn, or you'd gunk the engines up, corrode valves, and it was a nightmare. But the technology they've come along on the scrubbing units and clean filter units.
Oh, okay. So that's what
is much better.
That's what a big improvement is. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you for clearing me up on that.
Yeah. So it's all cool stuff.
So we have worked together on a few projects. I was just going to highlight a couple of them. We've done some fairly large stern tube alignment and boring jobs with you guys, where we have used, we have our geometric laser system, the Faro, and we have helped you guys where we have assisted by helping your guys set the boring bar and doing the shaft alignment. And we had pretty good success with that, right? On a fairly...
Damn good success.
Fairly large ship, right? It was a pretty good sized ship.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
780, 800 bore.
Right. That was a big ship.
Yeah. The cool
container
part,
ship, right?
It was. The cool part is would
built in the USA too.
Yes, sir. Typically use a laser for the alignment of the boring bar and the pockets. But in this instance, we had to put the boring bar in place and do the alignment with the bar in place, so we couldn't shoot a laser through the bores.
Right.
So that's where
we're able to work off the surface of the bar.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it worked out perfectly. We're able to align it.
Yeah.
Verify with the dials, and old school and new school.
That worked out really well. Yeah.
That was a great job.
And then I guess we've done some balancing work on some very large generator rotors for you as well. And that was that worked out really well.
Yeah, multiple occasions for different locations.
Yeah, that was good. That was a nice project. And then let's see what else. And we've done some vibration surveys for you guys, like at down in the power plant and things.
Yeah, we've done a few on a few vessels and a few power plants.
Yeah, the vibration.
But the dynamic balancing is really cool. You didn't talk a whole lot about that and if you don't know what that is,
elaborate, please.
So what it allows you to do is typically you'll take a large rotating machine and you'll balance it in the workshop. You're going to put on a balance machine, you're going to dynamically balance, you're going to weigh it so it's perfectly balanced. By doing the dynamic balancing on site, you don't have to remove the piece of equipment back to the workshop.
Right.
You're able to keep it in place. And a lot of these are big generators, huge generators working on 3 ton, 5 ton, 20 ton, 30 ton.
Yeah. So
it gives us the ability to take a vibrating piece of equipment and correct the vibration to within acceptable levels on board. And Rich has got some guys that are really good at it.
Yeah, we can do we also troubleshoot it before we do the balance to make sure that the bearings are good and everything else before we proceed with the balancing, so we can make sure that we're focused on the balancing and there's no other issues such as alignment or a bad bearing.
Bad mounts.
Yeah, exactly. So. And then you guys have helped us with a lot of in situ machining jobs, and and also supplemental labor on a couple maintenance projects, things like that.
My guys love working on yachts.
Yeah, I somehow I doubt that, but they're a lot tighter. You gotta really crawl around on a yacht. We've been working on some 100-meter yachts lately, so
yeah, it's pretty.
You guys might be up for that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
My guys just taking off the boots they love it.
Yeah. And then you've touched on it already, but I was going to discuss like any new regulatory things going on. But I mean, you brought it up. We're talking about the new fuels. We're talking about the scrubbing systems, and you guys are pretty heavily involved in all that.
We are. EEXI compliance for the ships, IMO regulations.
Mm-hmm.
So we get involved with that. We're working on a company right now for shaft power limitation. To limit the vessel shaft output to minimize the amount of carbon it's putting in the air.
Interesting.
You're basically blocking the fuel racking.
Yeah.
So that way a large vessel can't go to full fuel and dump a bunch of.
So they're running at their peak design pressures. Yeah, and flows for the engine.
Correct.
Yeah. Or put torque meters on for that.
There are.
Yeah, because it usually works together with a torque meter, I would think.
Correct. They're the EPL, which is basically just a shaft lock, or not a shaft lock, but a lock on the fuel rack that'll limit the amount of fuel, which is a calculation. Or you can do the Chipotle, which is a shaft power limitation.
Yeah.
Which is using a torque meter, which you guys represent the.
Right. We work with Bensfield, And we use strain gauges to pick up the torque off the shaft. A lot of times, like, the boats don't even realize that they're, underpitched or overpitched, or the propeller's fouled or the hull's fouled, and they're losing a lot of efficiency. So we try to help them with that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool technology.
Yeah, it's low-hanging fruit, man. Just by doing basic stuff like cleaning the bottom and cleaning the prop, you could, or just repitching the blade to get the right pitch, right diameter. So
all makes a difference.
Yeah, little things can make a big difference, right?
So another thing we're doing is we represent a company called EMSIS, and it's a continuous emission monitoring system. So it measures the emissions that the vessels or any power plant are putting out into the atmosphere. Measures SOx, measures NOx, particulate matter. And what that does, it allows you to give you real world information so you can make the corrections and the tuning, so you know what you're doing instead of guessing, hey, if I make this change in my engine, what's it going to do? Well, you make a change to the engine, you know what it's doing. You can monitor it.
The performance. And you can make sure you're not overburning the fuel or overheat.
Underburning.
Underburning, and make sure you get a peak performance.
Yeah, we're also, there are fuel additives that can be added to the vessel as well, and you can use a continuous emission monitoring system to verify, am I getting any gains from this? Nice,
because I think so. They must like you because the additive guys. Because I think that's, most people probably think it. I remember when I was a superintendent managing a cargo ship, I had this guy trying to sell me, you remember him, right?
Snake oil.
Yeah, it was like Texas Refinery. Who was that guy? Anyway, this is going back 30 years. But he was always trying to sell me this stuff and put in the fuel, and he was always talking how great it was. And I actually talked the owner into it, and this is going a long time ago, right? And it did actually make a difference. The engine ran cooler. We produced more power, and we got a better. We could feel the improvement, but we didn't have the system like you, where we could actually give them data. Yeah, we were just basing it on our feel.
Exactly. Which sometimes you want to believe in something you think it's working and it may not be working, right?
Yeah.
So this allows you to do that.
Yeah.
We also represent Purify Fuel, which is another fuel additive. That's another reason why we like to monitor it, and it does it.
So she could show data and you could show results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's important for us.
Very important.
If we're going to back a product, we want to make sure it's actually working.
Yeah. Right. I feel the same way. I don't want to sell snake oil.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm the same impression. Anytime someone brings me an additive, it's first thing is.
Yeah, right. Oil. Whatever. I'm not going to put that in my car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But some of the new additives are really amazing. They actually do work. So.
Well, some really interesting stuff, Paul. Thank you for your time. There's a lot of things going on in the world in marine propulsion and power, and it'll be interesting to see where it all plays out. And I'm glad to see you guys are on the leading edge, and it's good to be partnered with you and support and work with you, and I appreciate your support as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Rich.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for your time, and we love working with AME.
Yeah, it's
top quality people.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for listening in. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into this week's tips and tricks for equipment optimization. Want to learn more? Head over to AME's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube included in the show notes, along with details from this episode. That's all for now, folks. See you next time.